I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where Gary and I take a bunch of time off because of COVID, and now we're back. Gary, are you healthy? Are you good?
You know, I'm pretty close.
Okay.
There. I actually nobody needs to worry. Nothing's going to happen to network stuff. I did come back sooner than I should have.
Oh yeah.
Not to work necessarily. Like recording is not bad, but I was like, I feel better. And started, did my move and everything. And I was like, why do I feel like such shit? I can like lift one box and I have to lay down. Like, what's happening? And it's because I was still getting better and I didn't really realize it. So I'm getting there. I'm not going to be like, this may surprise you. Not going to be running any marathons anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. That COVID is sneaky, man. It's very, very sneaky.
It's fucking wild.
I
was just like, oh, I feel better, but no.
It's,
I don't.
I feel like it's unfortunate that I won't be alive by the time they start really figuring out how it just really fucked the human race in like 70 years, right? Like in 70 years, we're going to have so much data about how this disease just completely fucked the human race and we didn't do anything about it. And I'll be dead because I'm not going to live for another 70 years.
Is this how they introduce mutants to the U?
Yeah, absolutely. This is it.
The regular U?
This is 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That would be like if they did that in the MCU, like, everybody gets COVID, and then then Wolverine is there.
Hey, bub, I got the solution.
Hey, bub.
I hope I get powers from this. It's pretty soon. Like, COVID's only been around for a couple of years, so like maybe there's like a 5-minute or 5-year
like refractory period. Yeah. So in 5 years,
and then I become an inhuman.
Yeah, you'll go through a tremendous metamorphosis, and then you'll be able to. I don't know, being an inhuman, like I feel like they have a lot more like physically changed like members. You know what I'm saying? Like you could go from looking like your normal person self to something drastically different. Whereas with mutants, I don't feel like that.
Person.
Yeah, like I don't feel like that happens as much with mutants. But I don't know. I haven't really done a 1-to-1 comparison, so who knows?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, so we're back. Thank you for bearing with us during our absence. We're going to finish the Messiah complex today. We've got 5 issues we're going to cover.
Yeah,
you want to catch everybody up?
Of varying quality.
Yeah, well, vastly varying quality. You're right.
But yeah, thanks for everyone for your patience, and we didn't want to we just figured we'd finish it out since it's been a long enough wait. We talked briefly about what we're doing next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're still down for this.
Yeah.
Do you want to do so yeah, if you're down for it, we're going to do the Mutant Massacre.
Yeah. I don't think I've read
We got Marauders Fever.
Yeah, we got to get some more Marauders. Also, I just want to say, while we were on absence, we had several people reach out and say like, "Hey, if y'all need some help doing a podcast," that was very, very nice. And normally, we would always say yes to that, but it just the timing on me really didn't work out because while Gary was super sick with COVID, I was also super busy. So
yeah.
But thank you for reaching out. Those of you that did, I really appreciate it. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's a weird thing. Like, so every Duckfeed show has kind of found its rhythm in terms of how it handles life coming up. And somewhere along the line, without me and Jeremy talking about it, we just decided, oh shit, we're real people and that comes first.
Yes, absolutely.
So like we will begin to record and it's like, hey man, I'm real fucking sick. Or like, hey man, I'm really stressed out. I didn't sleep last night. And the response is not like an emergency, all hands on deck. It's all good.
Yeah.
And then
see you next week.
We just kind of, see you next week. We just kind of move on from that. And it's been okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be irresponsible to people who like the show. I really appreciate it. And I love doing it. Like I miss doing it while I was off. But at the same time, also, it's just kind of the rhythm we've worked into.
Yeah, exactly.
Like WAF will never stop, but that will come out every week until I die. Days of Future Cast, most every 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Like,
yeah.
22 episodes. 22 episodes, 23 episodes a year.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's about right.
Yeah. And I don't think people mind that much. They've waited this long for Messiah Complex. They can wait just a little bit longer.
The suspense was probably killing them. What was Predator X up to?
Yeah.
He shows up.
When does Bishop get here? What is Bishop's motivations? Oh, we're not going to answer any of those questions.
Yeah, just gets here. Yeah, at the end. There's a sequel crossover that deals with that, but it's entirely headed by Yost. Like the two creators, the New Mutants, early X-Force guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yost and so I'm like, I'm kind of curious about, more of the story, but I don't like how they write.
Yeah, that's really the problem when you start doing these crossover events like we've been doing. Is it just makes you want to read a bunch of X-Men? Like, what happens? Like, what's going on? Like, I want to read the rest of this, and yeah, I because I've already read this once and revisiting it, like and remembering some of the stuff that happens after this. I really it makes me just want to read a bunch of modern day X-Men stuff like soon, because I feel like I'm missing out on a bunch of conversations for modern day X-Men that I need to get into.
Yeah. Well, there's also the fact that like there's all these crossovers and stuff that feel like important parts of X-Men history. So I'm like, I want to know what happens there.
Yeah.
And then when I try to read them, they're fucking poison. Like when I was like, what happened in Ex Necrotia? Oh, it's fucking awful.
Oh, yeah, it's very terrible.
Comic. Or Jubilee, the Vampire Jubilee saga.
Oh yeah,
it's really bad.
It's just not good. Yeah,
like
the whole plan, comic. Like we're gonna make Wolverine a vampire, and then he's gonna like us, and Wolverine's like, nah.
Yeah, I'd prefer not. And it's like, what the fuck am I even doing?
Yeah.
So anywho. Let's get into it here with X-Men 206, Chapter 9.
Mm-hmm.
With the cover, this is Jamie Madrox really beat up. You can't really tell who it is, though, until you get into the issue.
This feels a little like maybe they were trying to hide this a little bit, but then you immediately see everybody in this future with an M on their face, so it's like, oh, well, we know exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And just to remind folks at home, the Messiah Complex is all about a new mutant baby that was born and a bunch of different factions trying to chase it down. Currently, Cable has her, and is doing some weird Cable stuff. The X-Men are hunting her. Marauders are hunting her. The Purifiers have all kind of just been purified. We're not going to really deal with them anymore. Thank God.
They're out.
Yeah.
They got killed in the last issue where we lost Caliban, which matters in this issue.
Yes.
And then goes away.
And then doesn't. And then immediately doesn't. And then they just literally stuff him in a locker and they just don't talk about him anymore.
Very funny. He gets stuffed in, we'll get to it. He gets stuffed in a locker and Cyclops is like, stuff him in a locker with respect. He was the next
respect. On
my mind.
On the Merlin podcast that I do, there was a scene where a guy is getting drug out of a cage, actually by Tywin Lannister, and put onto a pyre. He's being burned for being a witch, and King Arthur, or Prince Arthur at the time, is like, "Hey, be respectful." Like, oh, okay.
God, I love that. Yeah, to be very respectful in a way of doing absolutely the worst thing.
So we're going to catch up with Jamie Madrox, who has gone to the future. Cyclops had a plan to send his multiples into branching timelines to get information. And then immediately the current Jamie just like went to a coma, and he drug Layla with him.
Layla dived into the teleporter with him at the last moment, which is part of what fucked everything up.
Yeah.
So they're in the future. We don't know exactly what future it is yet, but this is where we find out. We're in this processing facility where they are shaving Jamie's head and basically just breaking him down.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them being shitheads in this, showing how gross they are. They show Layla being forced to shower in front of guards, and just they're just being abused. It's prison. It's Oz shit.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like stereotypical stuff. And of course, Jamie is very, very concerned about Layla, but they're not letting them be together. And Jamie gets brought into this kind of facility where he's strapped to a table, and a dude with a bandolier of tattoo needles, which if I ever went to go get a tattoo,
Whitman, dude.
And the dude was had a strap of needles, I'd be like, you know what? Wrong place. I made a mistake. I thought this was a Kroger. My bad.
Yeah, I'm out. Do you sell vape stuff here? There's a lot of crossover, but so he's very respected. The marker is not his name; it's a position. And we're gonna find out what these guys do. But first, we have to deal with the decomposing cadaver of Caliban and how it should be stuffed into a locker. As the X-Men land in Canada, where there's a fight between the Purifiers and the Cable. And the Marauders, New Mutants, somebody, or the
X-Force. Yeah, the X-Force team that as it exists right now. And our boy
Warpath.
I knew I was going to say the wrong one, so thank you for jumping in there. Warpath is extremely upset because Caliban sacrificed himself to save Warpath, in a move that I think at the time we called pretty what are you doing, Caliban? That dude seems pretty strong. He could probably just take the hit.
Yeah, he can regenerate pretty well, and you sniff mutants.
Yeah, you
have a super smell.
Yeah.
Like,
You should have been in the locker before you died. They should have stuck you in there before the fight.
Bench him respectfully. He doesn't have good powers.
Yeah, he doesn't have combat powers.
Yeah.
He's like, but no, I can do a karate chop. Like, no, you can't.
Yeah. I just assumed I could. Well, I can read lips. No, you can't.
You can't.
Damn it, Caliban.
And Hetzibah, who is Warpath's girlfriend, is trying to like calm him down, and it's just not working. He's extremely upset. Cyclops makes the scene and wants to be wants the download from Wolverine about what happened. And Wolverine just has a casual like, we met the enemy, we did them harm, kind of. And I'm like, okay, but more specific, please. Is Cable alive?
Yeah, we got played by Cable though.
Mm-hmm.
And X-23 points out like, Cable was protecting the baby. Cyclops doesn't respond to that. This is kind of going to be his personal arc during this. They're scanning. They're trying to figure out where he's going. They figure out which direction he's going, but they can't get an actual bead on him. There. Here's where he says, Guido, Warpath, put Caliban's body into the aft storage locker and do it with respect. He died in X-Man. The aft storage locker.
The aft storage locker. What a place of honor. Like, they're going to have to name it Caliban's locker from now on, right? Like,
Caliban's
it can't be
Cove, yeah.
Caliban's Cove. Oh, man. Imagine Warpath going up to it and being like, just getting a jacket out of it and just breaking down into tears, right?
Praying at the aft storage locker. Yeah. It's so there might have been more stuff to establish Caliban and Warpath's relationship that I didn't see. It just feels silly to me.
Yeah.
Cyclops says he has another way he's going to pinpoint, and we go back to some of the New Mutants. In Stepford Cuckoo's doing some stuff, giving him his old knowledge back so he can repair Cerebro.
Yeah, giving Prodigy his old knowledge back. And they're doing the thing that's just kind of a one-page thing. When then we jump over to Cable, who is just doing crime. I like this guy for just doing some crime. Like, he's feeding the baby a bottle, which, like, where did you get that bottle, Cable? I'm dying to know.
Sure.
But also, like,
it's just a techno-organic body bottle.
Sure.
He created a body bottle out of his super arm.
Oh, God. That's just called a nipple, Harry. That's just a nipple. That's what we call those.
There's a lot of legislation on whether Cable can breastfeed in public.
Oh, they're not for
Chest
me.
Feed.
Not from this guy. Not in South Louisiana.
Vote yes on Prop 203.
Should Cable milk?
I have nipple, Cyclops. Can you milk me? But I like him with the baby. It's kind of cute. Like, whenever he's talking to the baby, like, I don't know, he's kind of a sweetheart.
Yeah, absolutely.
During it, the crime he does is he takes the big risk of standing in front of a semi truck and knowing it will stop, so he can Terminator to it. Like, just pull the guy out of the truck and steal his car.
Yeah, I like the fact that they just make this a Mack truck. Like, it's not like a Jack truck or something. How sometimes they suddenly change the logos or whatever. It's like no, this is a Mack truck. And he is off to Dallas, where we know is the home of Forge. So we kind of figure out where he's going pretty quickly. We jump into the future, where the Marker, who has taken off his hat to show off of his cool tribal skull tattoos, and it's the same tattoos that the Vanisher gets. Oh, really?
At some point.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, this looks like the Vanisher kind of, but he's older. So I don't know if that's going to come back or if it's just a weird coincidence. Or if there's a subtle difference between the tattoos. But
no, his name is Telford Porter. Boy, someone was going to the fucking source.
A Porter.
Yeah. I was curious if his name was Whitman, because that's what they said this dude's name was, but nope, not at all.
Yeah, just a coincidence. But he might have the same tattoos. I wasn't up on Vanisher lore. He's explaining that this tattoo, you have to have that tattoo without anesthesia, because it's actually tattooing your DNA. Like, it doesn't just write on your skin. It's a virus that forever marks you. Which is also what a tattoo does.
Yes.
It's forever mark you.
As we all
this
know.
One goes through time. It's very confusing tattoo.
As we all know, anesthetic blocks access to your DNA during a tattoo, so we have to do this.
Yeah.
Like, this all just screams like, I just want to do it with and have you be in pain while I'm doing it.
They really push that button.
Yeah. when he's all done, and we still have not seen his face, even though I think everybody knows what's about to happen. Jamie asks for Layla, and he's like, and the marker is like, oh, good God, she's not here. She's getting processed by a female marker. We're not animals, like as they're forcefully tattooing a group of mutants with a logo. Not good
for their DNA. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Back on the Blackbird, they're flying. M is talking to Warpath, and he's doing the Crashmore thing. Like she's just like, Cyclops meant it. We are going to give Caliban a decent burial and honor him. And he says there are going to be a lot more people that need burying by then. Don't save any cages, Chief. I'm going to put a bullet in each one of those motherfuckers.
They finally get Cerebro back up and running. Or no, they're almost ready to get Cerebro back up and running. And they are just kind of flying south. And, Bobby is like, I don't even understand what Cable is doing. And we have this flashback to, I guess maybe, I probably read
The Adventures of Cyclops and Jean Grey.
And Jean Grey. I had to have read this, but seeing these flashback panels, I was like, maybe I want to read those.
It's pretty bad. Like, it's real 90s, and it has to do a lot with the Uncanny, who are the future cult that raised Cable, and they're very boring to me, personally. But I like the way that this handles it, where it's like, this is him giving up his son in the first place. We just get to have the event. We don't have to deal with all of the dumb lore. This is giving us exactly what we need, which is to know that, remind us that Cyclops gave up his son to the future to be raised by shitty monks. He's thinking about this. It's going to play in later. And he's basically saying, I don't trust Cable. He's got a shitty record. We got to find out.
Yeah.
We go back to Cerebra. They test it. It works. The Cuckoos can use it. They log on to the mutant net. And look around, and they find Cable. Specifically, he's in Texas, heading towards Forge, so the X-Men start heading there. And Cyclops makes a big tactical mistake here. He says, put out a general alarm. Anyone who's close, who can get there, will know what he's looking for. We're going to find out. This alerts somebody who ultimately is bad that he got alerted.
Yeah. Cut over to Cable, who is entering a building in the only way that he knows how, which is driving a Mack truck through the front door.
God, I love it. It's so stupid. It's a door. It opens, my man.
There's an excessively long rap song by a guy named Sage Francis who talks about this career criminal who is known for stealing trucks. And it's a very sad story about him breaking out of jail to and then stealing more trucks to go see his sick dad, and then he gets arrested again, and then it happens to his mom, and then he gets arrested again.
Okay.
But there's a line in there about him crashing the Walmart truck 150 feet away from his mom's house, and I'm like, Cable did it better. He got right to the front door. And I don't know why it just reminds me of this, of just crashing a Mack truck just to get somewhere. And so he breaks into Forge's place, and he has this dialogue of hey, Forge, I know, you're not shooting at me right now, which is why, you can trust me. I just need some time machine parts, and I'll be out of your hair, and I'm sorry about your front door. My bad.
It doesn't, this is Mike Carey writing this issue, and I think that, he does not have a good handle on Cable's voice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's seriously, I need a time machine in the worst way. It's a little Joss Whedon-y for Cable.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. He gets up there and he goes to try to find Forge, but Forge has already been shot. He kneels to check out Forge and gets shot in the back, by whom we will find out soon enough.
Yep. But first we have to go to the future and get some more brutalization of one Jamie Madrox before he is kind of thrown in with the rest of the mutants. And it's finally revealed the tattoo on his face is the M, just like that Bishop has. Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Yep. Everyone's checking in on him a little bit. They're like, let mutants handle their own. Let's not take him to a doctor. Again, just doing the Oz stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys says, the tattoo stops hurting after a little bit unless it gets infected, and until something else tries to kill you. And this cuts over to a very funny panel in a vacuum. Bishop standing over a baby pointing a gun at it. And the baby just being like, Wah.
The baby, hey, I'm a baby.
Hey, sir, I am a baby. What are you doing, Bishop?
Yeah. This is just, I feel like sometimes with these crossover events, the more I read of them, the more they really want to like do the trick. They want to like surprise you or like have that moment of like kind of thing. And I feel like it would be better if they just didn't do that. Try to do that with every single issue. And maybe that's just like me complaining about comics as a whole at this point, because I think they were trying, since the way that they're published and delivered to people nowadays, like they want people to have that last page reveal so you come back and buy the next comic. But reading it like you and I do, it's just like, okay, next.
Yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, it doesn't resonate. Like they
have these
much.
Little stings. Yeah, it's a little silly, and various like comics do it more. Some comics do it more than others.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Like some are better at it. This is important. This is the missing piece that Cyclops and everyone was talking about. Like there's something we're missing. It's Bishop.
Yep,
and we're gonna find out a little bit about why he's doing this in the future storyline. That's the point of the storyline. But not until we move over into Uncanny X-Men 494, Chapter 10, written by Ed Brubaker and Philip Tan, doing the art here. And it basically picks up right after.
Yeah, cool cover. This is just like a classic X-Men team cover. Everybody posing and being rad. I just really like the art on it. Like I think it just looks really cool.
Yeah, good. David Finch is good at doing these pin-up kind of things.
Mm-hmm. And,
we get over to the baby crying.
Just how bad do you have to be to shoot a baby?
Pretty bad. Nobody quite does it.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of attempted baby murders in this thing. I like the baby's tiny little DC superhero diaper.
Yeah, the little
like
stars.
It looks like something that one of the Raven's boyfriend would wear in the new Teen Titans or something.
Sure. Why is he wearing a diaper though? I don't understand.
Because he's a baby. No, I mean like he'd just be wearing little tights.
He's a teenager.
Like he'd be wearing this with tiny like.
He's rocking the pattern, not the diaper. Okay, now I get it. Like,
yeah.
Well, you're gonna anger the Nightwing community if you say that Nightwing wears a diaper.
We're the Tween Titans. Yeah.
You know that Batman has definitely like thought about having like just a waste processing suit, right? Like he's got he's just that kind of dude.
I assume Batman just pisses and shits himself
constantly,
and just deals with it later. Yeah,
yeah.
There was a very famous like a controversy that came where Kevin Smith was writing Batman, and it drew a lot of attention because in it, Batman he opens up like a door that has a fire behind it. And there's a backdraft, and the sudden rush of heat. And he admits to Robin or someone that it made him piss. And he's like, Batman is saying to Robin, like, you know how when it suddenly gets much hotter and you pee? and Robin's like, yeah, I have had that happen.
Yeah, totally.
And it was such a good, like, what are you talking about, Kevin Smith?
Kevin, what are you doing?
That's not a real thing. That's just you, man. You got to go to a doctor.
Please stop tweeting about your wife's private parts. And
perfect taint brown area. It reminded my friend Austin, who was just like, yeah, you know how you shit yourself a couple times a year? And like nobody said yes. When that happens, it's one of my favorite things in the world.
Oh man.
Like, you know how whenever it gets hot, you piss yourself?
No. That's not an experience. Oh man.
Fucking weirdo.
I saw a random tweet from a guy doing a run on the Batman comics. And he was responding to somebody making a joke that Batman would like make a pun or whatever. And he was like, actually, DC told me that Batman is not the kind of guy that does puns because I wanted him to call his satellites Battleites. And they wouldn't let me use the line unless I gave it to Alfred. Just like, goddamn. Imagine being the guy at DC that's like, nope, can't make a joke. Batman's too serious.
Alfred is the heat sink for this. That's so good. So Bishop's over the baby, about to kill him, and the baby gives him. Philip Tan is definitely the worst at drawing this baby. Gives him stops crying and makes eye contact, so Bishop can't summarily execute him.
How much does the baby just look like fucking Jason Alexander? Right, like it just looks like George in this frame. In this one, it just looks like fucking. He could just go to the diner on Seinfeld, no problem.
Yeah, Art Van der Lebe. This delay is important though, because it stops Bishop from killing the baby long enough for the Marauders to pop up.
Yep. Gambit's back, everybody. And Gambit is like, oh, you're a bad guy. What? Okay. I was wondering when you would show your true colors, because Bishop has always had this like on again, off again relationship with the X-Men as far as being on their team versus off their team. And I guess in the current like situation, he's very much an X-Man. He is on the team doing some X-Men shit.
He's on the team, but he's connected to their Sentinel overlords.
Yeah.
and Gambit and him specifically have this relationship because of his origin story when he came back in time and he had like talked to somebody called the Witness, which was Gambit who saw the X-Men die, so he assumed Gambit did it. And then the payoff for this was that Gambit hired the Marauders. All weird, silly 90s complicated plot shit.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna fight for a little bit.
The Marauders fuck up Bishop. They zap him. There's some really cool art stuff. Vertigo makes him dizzy, and the way the art makes his like head swirl, and stuff looks really cool. I like how Vertigo says, "Take him out before he blocks me out," and the way he blocks her out is by shooting her in the face.
Yes,
he's like,
gotcha.
What are you talking about? He didn't psychically fight you off, like.
And Sunspot manages to grab him and is like pulling him off away from the baby. While I actually don't know who this chick is. I don't remember her name.
I don't remember who she is either.
Random Marauder person grabs the baby, and as Bishop and Gambit kind of go into a big fight, and they Gambit kind of throws some cards at him. He explodes, and then Sunspot like bashes him in the back to make him pass out. Basically, they fuck this dude up, is what happens.
Yeah, Bishop absorbs power, so none of this stuff is going to kill him. They're just trying to slow him down. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, what Gambit does is he throws a card to collapse rubble onto him.
Yeah,
because hitting him with energy is not going to kill him. He's just absorbing it. But he's disabled now. Sunfire's like, we should kill him, and Gambit's like, no, the X-Men are going to be here soon. We got to get out of here.
Yep.
Baby's okay. Why the fuck did Bishop want to kill that baby?
Why did Bishop want to kill that baby? I still don't know. To this day, I still do not understand.
They explain it here in a second. Baby Bishop talks about it here in a moment in the future. We're going to get there. We go back to the future where Madrox is. I think they play this too much, just trying to show how shitty this future is. I think it's to justify Bishop, but he's just walking around trying to find Layla, getting the shit beat out of him for no reason. He finds Layla, and Layla's like, come on, I know why we're here. This is where Lucas Bishop grew up, and we've got to go talk to him.
And we see little baby Bishop.
Yeah, we baby Bishop. So the idea being, their purpose, which she did not know why she was in the future, was going to be to talk Bishop out of this. They do not succeed at that. But Bishop is going to explain, baby Bishop is going to explain why he might have an animus for the child.
Yeah. But until then, we go back to my dog might start barking a little bit. Sorry about that. Just in advance.
That's okay.
Everybody. I'll try to edit out those barks as much as possible. Bishop wakes up, steals the plane, or just leaves in his own X-Jet, I guess.
Well, it's when the X-Men are arriving because they're talking to each other. I really like this because Bishop just lies about the whole thing.
Yeah. Sorry.
He's like, when I got here, Cable had already taken out Forge. We fought and then the Marauders showed up. Like he's just lying.
Yeah.
And Scott buys it because Scott has this huge blind spot when it comes to Cable. He's willing to believe the worst about him.
Yes, absolutely. They Forge is also now on like the medical table, just like Jamie Madrox is, and they can't really get a reading on Jamie Madrox at all. Like Emma can't communicate with him because he's basically brain dead right now, since his he's basically, his soul is in the future. They don't say that, but his soul is in the future.
Basically Cyclops welcomes Bishop back to the team and starts giving orders. Logan, take Bishop and X-Force, go in his Blackbird because it's faster. Get in the air. I don't know where you're going, but we're going to find out. There's a little bit with Warpath trying to protect Hepzibah because after Caliban died, he's like, you can't go. I feel like Hepzibah dying is not really laying track or Caliban dying is not laying track for Hepzibah dying.
No, not at all.
She's got super agility and stuff.
Yeah, Caliban just was, he was just a dude that could like sense mutants. That was his old, Hepzibah is a space alien who's mastered many forms of combat.
We're joking about this a lot, but it's actually, I think, a pretty dumb thing. Like it reminds me, one of my, the first X-Men crossover I read, one of my favorites is Extinction Agenda, which Warpath dies, but it happened right after Doug Ramsey died for the first time. And they talked about it, like they dealt with it. They weren't like, he was an X-Man, let's give him honor. They were like, his power was languages. Why the fuck did we have him on the field at all?
Yeah.
We used him because he could talk to Warlock and we needed that, but that was a mistake. Like they actually reckon with the fact that they threw a non-combatant at the fucking purify, or like the equivalent of the purifiers in that. And it was the right. It was like Cameron Hodges' anti-mutant thing. So it's a really similar thing. Here, everyone is just sad and says he was an X-Man, but nobody says why the fuck was he on the team?
Yeah.
The field team.
And it's something that's going to come up again because towards the end of these issues that we're covering, like Cyclops puts the order into like have the kids fight the Marauders or whatever, which is going to set up some other bullshit in the future, right? Of just Cyclops being willing to do that kind of stuff. But I don't think this is related to that at all. And they never, as far as I know, they never deal with it. Also,
it's also just to head off anybody who is screaming into their podcast. Sometimes Caliban does have superpowers and is super strong and stuff. This is little skinny shitty Caliban. It's not like super strong Horseman of Apocalypse Caliban. So.
Also, I just want to call your attention to Hetzibah since we're talking about her a little bit, and the hole she made in her denim jeans for her tail, and just the logistics of threading that needle through there. You know what I'm saying? Like you pull up the jeans. It's like 3/4 of the way up your ass. You reach back and grab the end of your tail, and then you know what I'm saying? Like just the
very
hole.
Tight.
Yeah, and that's a very small hole. So you're pulling like.
It looks like it would hurt.
It does look like it would hurt.
Cyclops feels weird about that all over because this is his dad's ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
who's now dating Warpath.
Yeah,
this guy who's just there, and she's wearing the super sexy jeans. I don't know. The whole thing is very strange, but the jeans are too tight to pull a tail through.
Yeah, my ex-stepmom is dating one of my students. Is a headline in Cyclops' life.
The student whose older brother I got killed.
It's never easy with the X-Men.
Yeah. Does it make your uncle? What am I now?
Yeah, I am my own mutant grandpa.
Why do I have to do this?
Cyclops Wolverine puts an end to this whole conversation by saying like, "Hey, it's my team, and I say who goes, and Hetzibah goes. Like, you don't get a say in this."
Yep. I chose to say Caliban had to go.
Yes,
and I'm not going to deal with that. But now I'm saying Hetzibah has to go. Everyone you love will die at the hands of missions. I guarantee it. Warpath.
And so we jump over to the Xavier Institute, where the Stepford Cuckoos are doing Cerebro stuff, as well as Prodigy is there also doing Cerebro stuff. They seem to be like kind of complimenting Prodigy, like he's pretty good for a guy. He's almost as smart as a girl, that kind of stuff, which is, it's cool, whatever. Yeah.
It's cute. They can't lock onto the baby. So they talk to Emma Frost, who's like, hey, lock onto the people who have the baby, lock onto the Marauders. And Cyclops is like, don't forget Cable. Like, also lock onto him because that guy is a problem.
Yes. And we cut to the outskirts of Dallas where he is sneaking in. The way that he's hidden the Blackbird in like some woods. This is very funny to me because it looks like there's netting on the Blackbird.
Yeah.
How long?
It's not a stealth system or anything.
Yeah. I think he got it right away.
Ghillie.
Yeah. Like these things are like advanced. Do you think he just doesn't know where the stealth button is on the thing? Like where did he get the netting?
he just moved Caliban's lifeless corpse out of the way to get the netting and the aft storage. Like every Blackbird has a bunch of this like ghillie stuff for stealth capping.
Oh wow. Wow.
Once parked a Blackbird in a roundabout in a major city for 2 days and no one noticed.
Absolutely.
Welcome
amazing,
to my YouTube.
Jesus. So he gets on the ship, and he's kind of just thinking like the stakes are high. I couldn't make this happen. It's time for Plan B, and he reaches out to none other than Professor Xavier, who is shocked to hear from Cable, but is obviously open to talking because that's what Xavier does when he's not chopping the Cyclops off at the knees. He's just like dog.
Yeah. It bringing him back into the fold is going to do the kind of resolve that arc.
Yes.
The beginning tension between Cyclops and Professor Xavier. I really like that before Cable can telepathically message Xavier, he presses a little button on his arm.
Yeah.
It's not a communicator because he's doing it telepathically. He's like turning off his
scrambler,
his telepathic screening or something.
Yeah, well, because they haven't been able to track Cable this whole time. Like he's had some sort of like Cerebro hide me device or whatever. He just turned the Wi-Fi.
That's a 3-inch button on his arm.
Yeah, dude, you gotta have.
It's a huge glowing button.
Cable likes tactile buttons, my man. Like, what do you want?
he's got a cherry switches in his psychic inhibitor.
The best TikTok account that I follow is a TikTok account that's called Hazard Lights, I think. and it's
Okay.
just videos of different cars turning on their hazard lights, and that's it.
Ooh.
There's no talking, there's no music. It's just like however you click the button and then whatever noise it makes when the hazard lights are on, which is like fascinating to me. I know you don't drive much, but like just that weird like click 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 noise can be so dramatically different from vehicle to vehicle, and it's super interesting. I feel like Cable and me
It's very satisfying.
would have that in common of being like, yeah, the hazard light tick tock. That's what I'm into.
Yeah. Yep. So this is the end of the issue. Bringing Xavier back into the fold. That's our little button. Works better than the dun 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 of Bishop. This moves us into X Factor issue 27. I got cover with Cable, Gambit, Xavier, and then like a very constipated Sinister.
What is happening with Sinister's face, my man? This is intense. This is real
He's
intense.
Got problems.
He's excited. We also have Jamie and Layla in the concentration camp in the background. And we're gonna jump right to there where they are trying to talk to Bishop from the young Bishop who is in the future, who is not having it, and kind of sets him up to be kind of knocks him into one of the guards so that the guard hits Layla on top of the head. But they chase him down and eventually like get an explanation out of him about why, about what has happened in this future. And it's not great.
It's not a great explanation. The idea here is like, oh, you're those mutants who think that the mutant that was born was special. You're destiny freaks. And he talks about how, 80 years ago, all the destiny freaks vanished. So he's talking about decimation. And it would have been great if they stayed that way, but no, they kept pushing. More mutants came along, and that's what caused this future, basically.
Yes.
Also, the mutant in question, the Messiah, until the Messiah killed 1 million humans. So basically, it's all classic Bishop stuff, but this is him as a kid being like, the thing that's known as the Messiah killed all the humans and started this reality. So that is why adult Bishop wants to kill the baby, to stop it from killing 1 million humans and causing his parents to die in a concentration camp and stuff. Perfectly fine motivation for a Bishop. Needs to be explored more, and like, I don't know, it's hard for me to imagine Hope killing 1 million humans. Maybe they answered that question, and it's in the Messiah War or whatever, the sequel to this. I do not know.
Yeah, I don't. That's part of the weird thing about going kind of backwards the way we did with doing AVX and then coming back and doing this. Is like we kind of know the end game for all of this stuff, and it like a lot of the pieces don't quite match up as neatly as you might want to, which is the nature of comic book crossovers, right? Like you have a bunch of different writers with a bunch of different ideas. Like you're never going to make it perfect, but knowing like what Hope is. Which is, the savior of mutant kind, right? Like she was supposed to be the host of the Phoenix. She was the host of the Phoenix, and she's going to basically spawn the mutant gene again. Is real weird because I guess that makes some sense because it could have gone the other way, right? Like if she got the Phoenix, she could have done the wrong thing and like destroyed the planet. So I guess maybe it does make sense.
It's a weird thing though because future reading in comics is strange because like it was never Hope who was going to do that.
Yeah.
It's like the Avengers went and fucked it up, and then the X-Men fucked it up, and like, Hope was innocent the whole time, basically, of it. So wherever Bishop got his history, like it was never accurate. But I guess he's just from a reality where Hope is a worse person.
There's infinite realities, Gary. That's the bummer about realities.
It's the multiverse, as we're in the multiversal saga.
We are in the multiversal saga. This all ends with Bishop running away, and the guard that Bishop pushed Layla into confronting Jamie and Layla, saying, "Hey, where's the grenade that you grabbed off of me?" And as Jamie's like, "Grenade? What are you talking about?" Layla apologizes, drops the grenade, and says, "I'm sorry. This is the only way." And like he explodes, and then we zap back in the past to Dallas, Texas, where Cyclops is doing the thinking face emoji with his face, which is really funny to me.
Something we missed earlier that was established was that Layla Miller saw that she survives.
Yeah.
This all gets worked out in X Factor. I can't remember exactly how, but I was reading that at the time.
It's good. I actually really like all of the Layla Miller, Jamie Madrox stuff. Like it's really like they do a real like sweet job with that relationship, I think.
Yeah. Cyclops is back. He's still saying like, "Hey, there's something we're missing." The girls have found Cable because he's turned off his thing. so he radios the X-Force and Bishop to tell him where to go, and it turns out Muir Island, or not Cable, where the babies are, where the Marauders are,
Yes.
because Gambit was reaching out, and it's Muir Island. They're heading there for the big climax in a couple issues.
Yep.
We get a scene I like where Siren is over Jamie and she's praying.
Mm-hmm.
I love it where she's like, I know they say you don't give people more than they can handle, but honestly, you're pushing it, which is a very human thing for a prayer to say. Like, hey, man, you're on fucking notice. We need a win here. Bring Jamie back. We want him back. And Jamie comes back because his future doppelganger got blown up.
Yes.
I also love how Siren says, Scott, everybody get in here. Scream. Does the yell.
I mean, like, if you only have a hammer, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you need to get people's attention, this is the way to do it. Everybody
Turn
comes
yourself into a human alarm.
Everybody comes running in, and Jamie has woken up. And between the first panel where he opens his eyes and the next panel where we see him, the M is on his face. So, like you mentioned, that the tattoo is going to be a time traveling tattoo. Real weird, and I don't care how this works. I don't want an explanation for how this works because I just think it's kind of cool. Like,
They just want another person with an M on their face.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
But the important thing is he wakes up and he goes, "Where's Bishop?"
Yes.
Cluing them in, like, "Hey, Bishop may not be good with this." We cut over to the psychicscape where Charles Xavier is talking to Cable, kind of making small talk with him. And Cable eventually realizes, like, why are we just having small talk, and why are we on my old ship? And Xavier reveals, like, I just put you somewhere comfortable to take your mind off the pain. And then we cut to a pretty badass thing of Xavier with his sleeves rolled up. I love sleeved rolled up Xavier.
Oh yeah, working man Xavier, blue collar Xavier out here in the
blue collar
with
Xavier.
the grunts.
We can do it. Doing surgery on Cable's arm.
Yeah,
I did not know that this is something that Xavier would know how to do. But he can apparently fix super advanced techno organics.
Sure. Why not? You know why? Yeah. It's because it has old school tactile buttons, and he knows exactly what they do. They're all labeled correctly.
Xavier puts together old arcade machines in his spare time.
100%. Dude, Xavier would be the worst pinball nerd of all time.
Absolutely. He fucking loves Moon Patrol. Like,
oh, yeah.
Just...
and he basically tells Cable to, like, sit down and shut up while I fix you, and then you're going to tell me all about what's going on. And then we jump back over to Dallas, where they're kind of trying to put the pieces together and realizing that Bishop had access to the Sentinels. He had ties to the ONE. He showed up right after, like, this whole thing kind of popped off when Cable showed up. Like, we have to assume, like, Cyclops is like, we have to assume both of them are working against us at this point.
Yep. Madrox comes in and says, like, hey, we have to go back to the future and get Layla right now. And basically he just gets put to sleep. Like, you go deal with that in your own comic.
We don't have time for this in this crossover. What was that? What was that really bad Destiny? Or was it Destiny line? Where like that, I don't even have time to tell you the stuff that I need to tell you or whatever. That were really horrible line from the game. Very much just like, shut up, go to your own comic. We don't need you here anymore.
This next scene is pretty ridiculous too, because Cable and Xavier go back and forth, just kind of establishing what they think of each other, which is fine. But it just ends with him being like, Cable being like, we don't have time for this. Just read my fucking mind. You already did it. And then Xavier being like, yeah, I did. But we spend a couple pages of them talking about it.
It's like who was hungry for the Xavier Cable relationship establishment, right?
Yeah.
Like I bet they haven't had like a whole lot of like alone time in the comic books. But I like who was looking for it though? Like, I don't need this at all. It was really, I like them teaming up a whole lot, and I kind of wish this was fast tracked to just be like, oh, now I was like, it'd be much cooler to me if Xavier like was read his mind and went, oh yeah, I'll help, and like didn't reveal anything. We didn't talk about
us.
Yeah, it didn't tell us at all. Yeah.
It's there's something interesting there with Scott being like Xavier's surrogate son.
Yeah.
And Cable being his son. Like, there's something there, but I don't think this is great. He basically says, like, hey, you unleashed those Sentinels on us. You fucked everything up. You're supposed to be dead. You did a bunch of bad shit. Cable just keeps saying, the baby's really important. We don't have time for this, until eventually he says, like, we have to, I should have come to you. I didn't. we had to get that baby. And Scott kind of Xavier says, I already have reprogrammed our route. He's like playing mind games with him, you know?
It's very Watchmen, right? Like, oh, this happened 30 minutes ago. Like, it's what it feels like. It's echoing a little bit, and it just doesn't work as well here at all.
He wants Cable to wear himself out. Really great. We cut over to Muir Island, where I like Gambit caring for the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I bet you Gambit's one of those guys who'd be good with babies.
Sure.
You never know.
I mean,
like, who's going to be good with the baby?
Gambit does not practice safe sex, as we have established many, many times. So Gambit is a lot of women's baby daddy, is what I'm saying.
Gambit go with many of his sons, but not all.
Baby got a lot of Gambit got a lot of children. Gambit has no son.
Yeah, that does not sound like Gambit's problem.
Gambit gave you child support last month. Yeah.
Yeah. Again? Why this month come up again? Gambit do not care whether it is the first of the month.
Gambit only buy Xbox for Gambit kid. Gambit not care about any of your other kids.
Them not play with it. No how.
Gambit only bring Gambit kid to Disney World.
They're on the island here, and Gambit's saying like, "Hey, you're belle of the ball right now. Every single important person is going to meet you," which is true. Like, this is after decimation. Basically, all the mutants are going to come to this island.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where all the Marauders are. He's walking inside. He sees Sinister. I love Sinister introducing himself to the baby. Like, pleasure to meet you.
A pleasure to meet you, child.
And Sinister tells the Marauders, go prepare for the X-Men. And then the twist is, they come in there, and Sinister is not Sinister, is Mystique holding the baby. And we see Sinister's like desiccated corpse on the ground.
Yeah.
We're going to find out why this happened here in a moment.
Yep. Until then, we have to jump back over to the school because we have to wrap up a real dumb plot line. Or not wrap it up, but we have to get back into the dumbest plot line of this whole thing, which is Predator X.
What does this add?
Well, I don't why? Like, the only thing you get out of it is like they teleport it to Muir Island, and there's even more carnage. But like the big climatic fight scene,
you already have 4 teams fighting.
Yeah, it's so busy already with mutants and mutant powers. Like, you don't need the Predator X guy. It's ridiculous.
I hate Predator X so much.
But
yeah, the Predator X shows up at the graves of all the New Mutant kids, and they notice, and they're like, "Well, that just happened." Then we cut away. I like this little bit here with Wolverine. He's walking with X-Force. They're not seeing anybody on the island, and Wolverine's no fool in this case. He's like, well, that's the thing. The Marauders have people who mess with your minds. We might not be seeing anything, but there could be alarms. There could be people everywhere. And he stabs the air in front of him, and he stabbed Reagan Wingard, the mastermind, which then shatters her illusion, and they're surrounded by all of the Marauders.
Bro, they kill a lot of Marauders in these next couple of issues. Like, there has to be something where, like, Cyclops is like, they're still mutants, man. Like, we still have they may be bad deer, but there's only 10 deer left. We need to.
They find out at some point that they're cloned. That they keep coming back, that Sinister has extras, but I feel like that doesn't happen for a few years.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
This is going to kick off our big fight scene, which is going to lead us into, where did it go? Why is
New
my
X-Men
iPad doing this?
46.
Thank you. With a very cool cover here too.
Yeah. The young kids, including the better young kids, we got Armor in there, who I like, in front of Predator X, who's coming at them. They are in front of like downtown New York. There are all these skyscrapers in the background. We'll just ignore that. So we cut over, and we're going to figure out what happened with Mystique.
Yep.
And stuff. We're doing 3 hours ago. And Mystique is talking about how Muir Island's being rough for her. This is where she lost she killed Moira McTaggart. She lost Destiny. Now she might lose her daughter. If you recall, the reason why Gambit is with the Marauders is because they're trying to heal Rogue.
Yes.
Rogue got sick and Mike carries X-Men through a virus. They'll mention it here. It's not really important. The important thing is she got sick.
Yes. And Mystique is trying to, is with Sinister to try to get Sinister to fix her. And Sinister is relaying the bad news of like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Like, we should be focusing on the child. Like, take your few minutes to grieve, and then let's get back on course with our thing, and then Mystique just sleeper holds
Yep.
Sinister, shoves him against her daughter's face so that both of them have squishy face, which is very funny to me. And then like
Yeah.
he just falls to the ground dead, which of course we all know Sinister is not dead. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
No.
But it's fun. So
This crossover has many times where a sleeping rogue is used as like a weapon.
mm-hmm.
Like this. The idea of an unconscious rogue being this incredibly powerful device you can like just touch people with is very funny to me.
It makes makes you really just want like a Weekend at Bernie's style adventure with
Yes.
Rogue and Gambit and Mystique.
Yeah,
like a
incredible.
a beach adventure of just puppeteering Rogue into situations to kill people.
until Rogue until Gambit ended up fucking Mystique, and it just ruins the whole thing. It's very
man.
awkward.
So do you think that Gambit would hit on Mystique, or do you think that Mystique would turn into Rogue in order to seduce Gambit to show that Gambit is unfaithful to Rogue? Like which one would out like just shitty person the other one? Because I feel like they're both real shitty people.
Mystique in Peter Milligan's X-Men run turned into a new character that tried to join the X-Men to try to seduce Gambit to save her daughter from him.
Okay.
And they don't find out until the very end. So I think it'd be Mystique. Historically.
Fair.
So, yeah. Even though she said it was because she didn't want her daughter wrapped up with, it's so fucking twisted. Like, I don't want my daughter wrapped up with you, so I'm gonna take a fuck from you like I'm the bodyguard diving in front of a bullet. You know? Like, what's your end game, Mystique? Like, I'm just gonna live my whole life as this new character to be your girlfriend.
I guess
so you don't date my daughter?
If you like, if she convinced Gambit, like, I don't know, man. Like, if I fucked Autumn's mom, she would never fuck me again. Like, there's no question.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. It wouldn't matter if it was. I mean, Autumn's mom is dead, so it'd be even worse. But like,
yeah, Weekend at Bernie's.
Speaking of Weekend at Bernie's, but yeah, there's just no way that Rogue would ever forgive it. Like, no matter what trickery or mind control bullshit was involved. Like, so I can see it making sense from Mystique's point of view, but it's still like a lot of effort and a lot of like bullshit to go through.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's someday when we're in the mood for something that's not very good. The Peter Milligan X-Men run is fucking fascinating.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we should cover Weekend at Bernie's. I was like, okay, it doesn't seem on brand, but sure, I'm down.
God, who gives a shit anymore? Because Peter Milligan, the guy who wrote Ecstatics, like good comic book writer, whenever he has to do just straight up superhero stuff, though, it's bad, but in a really weird way. It's a really weird fucking comic. So Gambit notices that Sinister's head, he clunked on the ground, he's bleeding out, and he's like, oh my god, he used Rogue too. And he's like, yeah she did. Sinister was gonna keep this child. I need the child. Gambit says, like, oh, I'm free of him, like I don't, Sinister no longer has control. What do we do? The X-Men are here, and we cut over to the fight.
Yep.
The Marauders all surrounding the X-Force here. And this is a Humberto Ramos issue since it's new X-Men, which means the action is not very like parsable.
Yeah, it's really difficult to figure out what's going on, especially if you're not super familiar with all of these like random B team marauders like I am. And that there is some cool stuff that happens. Like right off the bat, Wolverine gets shot in the eye with a bullet, which I think is very fun. And putting out like probably the most dangerous mutant in this group real quick is
since they couldn't bring Caliban,
since Caliban was in the app storage.
Since they haven't weekend at Caliban it. So they're fighting, and again, it's hard to tell who everyone is. The art's very exaggerated, lots of twisty spines.
Yeah.
And stuff. Wolverine says, like, hey, pacifist on the team, you have to fight to kill or you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
But this is just like kind of a big fight that I wish was served by better art. Personally, like, it's fine. There is some fun stuff that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like Scrambler walks up and turns off Wolverine's healing factor while he has a bullet in his brain, which is kind of fun. Like it just starts shaking his head like it's rattling around in there.
Yeah.
That's fun. X-23 stabs him,
cuts off his fucking like hands, dog, and eviscerates him. Like X-23 brutalizes this guy who I don't really care about, but like, damn, X-23 not giving any fucks.
I think I mentioned this before. I read the Gambit Deadpool miniseries from like 20 something, and Scrambler plays a big part in that, and it's pretty fun. Like he's fun and it's funny.
Oh, good.
So something I would love to do at some point.
Our sniper guy, is that just
Scalp
Avalanche?
Hunter.
Scalp Hunter draws a bead on Hetzibah, which of course Warpath sees, and then immediately starts fucking him up. And throws a knife and like pins him to the wall with a knife, which is always a good time. And then Mystique comes around and is like, "Hey, y'all need to like, we need to get away with the baby. Y'all got to do whatever it takes to stop the X-Men."
Just on time, all the rest of the X-Men show up.
Yeah,
They just kind of fall from the sky. Like,
so do you think
here.
their Blackbird goes like 10 less miles per hour than the other ones?
It does.
You know what I'm saying?
It's literally what it is. Yeah,
because it's not a long delay. Like one does 900 and one does 910. Like,
it is a math problem. It is if Blackbird A leaves the mansion at this time, and Blackbird B is slightly slower.
Does Blackbird B have Shi'ar tech? Do we have to factor that in?
I think that Bishop's Blackbird is super fast because he's colluding with the Sentinels. I think it's like a Sentinel Blackbird or something. I can't remember.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. Like it's not.
Doesn't matter.
Nobody cares but me and you because we like to dissect the money shit these comic books. And yeah, it's time for even more confusing fights to happen. And Cyclops yells out, "Hey, like y'all fight, but also find Bishop and bring him here. We need to figure that shit out." And we go inside where Mystique reveals kind of like that she has been behind all of the Marauder interest in all of this. And I don't know if this has been shown or if this is like a grand reveal, like, but she has been basically shown a vision from Destiny and is like to wake Rogue up, she has to have Gambit, the baby, and Rogue all in the same room in Muir Island. So she has like orchestrated a lot of these events to make this happen.
Yeah, so she read it in Destiny's Diaries, which was what the Extreme X-Men comic was about.
Mm-hmm.
Was them trying to hunt down Destiny's Diaries, which told the future. Mystique got a hold of them at some point, and she just knew she had read it, her scene, which, like, how boring would it be just to write down everything that you see in the future? Like, I've never thought about how boring it would be to write Destiny's Diaries.
Oh, yeah.
But she knew that Rogue would get sick. She knew the baby was the cure to doing it. So she basically manipulated Sinister. Like, Sinister's like, ooh, new mutant baby DNA. Of course I want that. And Gambit, bless his little heart, his naive heart, is like, oh, like, how's this baby going to work? Do you have to hook it up to a machine or something? Like, does it have some kind of power? Do you hook it up to a machine? And she's just going to stick the baby on Rogue.
Yeah.
Like, it's Rogue's power. It's not the baby's power that's going to do it, is the idea.
And I'm really confused because we don't know the baby's power now, but we know Rogue's power real well. Like Rogue, takes whatever, mutant power away, or can take the whole personality, or take the whole, all of someone's memories, which of course the baby wouldn't have very many memories. But as we know in the future, Hope's power is just like the replication and amplification of other mutants' powers.
Yes.
So what is happening here? And it doesn't really matter because like whatever, it just doesn't jive with what we know to happen in the future a little bit.
I don't know if they ever reveal it. The only thing I can think of is that she's synced up to Wolverine and she's amplified Wolverine. I don't know why she would be. Wolverine's not in the basement, but that's the healer who we have here.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Interesting.
Even though she said she needed Gambit in the same room, which would make sense if Gambit's power did something with it. And Gambit's powers are trippy. Like, he doesn't just have, throw cards. Like, his whole relationship with Sinister is based on him being able to, like, time travel and unleash the latent energy and anything and all this bizarre shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
We cut over to the shitty new X-Men fighting Predator X, one of the worst designs in X-Men history. And this is no good or anything. It comes in, it's going to kill the kids. The Surge zaps it, and they basically say, like, go down to the sick bay.
Yeah, go bunker up. We're going to try to take care of this.
Go hide out.
Yeah. We go back to the fight where
Riptide and Wolvesbane.
Yeah. And this is where Cable and Xavier make their interest. Riptide has put down Wolvesbane. She's fine. She's not dead. But then he gets put asleep. And Cable is always like, "Are you going to kill him?" And Xavier's like, "No." Cable, you know better than even to ask that question. Like, why would you think that would be a thing that I do?
Yes, like, you know me at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to the basement where there's a huge burst of power from Rogue touching the baby. And again, I love little naive Gambit be like, "No," trying to stop it. Like, it never occurred to him that this was what she was going to do. even though it's the only thing that would make sense because Rogue sucks powers.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He's like, you never told me this is what you're going to do. Rogue wouldn't want this. You killed a baby, and then the baby is like gaga goo goo. The baby literally says goo. So the baby did not die.
No, which is weird because, with that a prolonged exposure to Rogue's power, like it's taken down like real powerful mutants before.
Just took down Sinister.
Yeah. So like the idea that this baby can survive it is crazy. And
yeah,
Mystique is just like dying for Rogue to wake up. She's like begging at her side, and Rogue has not moved at this. And she believed, based on Destiny's Diaries, that this was what was supposed to happen. She did everything correctly to set this up, and she's not getting the outcome. And Gambit like rightfully points out, like, even if she did wake up, she's not going to be super happy with you. You were willing to sacrifice a baby. Like that's not a cool thing to do.
Yeah, you stuck a baby on her.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks. And Professor Xavier pops in and he's like, I was hoping you'd say that, which is very funny. We cut back to the fight. Again, not super good action. Like Storm is fighting Exodus. Colossus is fighting Frenzy.
I do love Colossus's line here. It's like, this is insanity. Like even Colossus doesn't like to be here.
Yeah, it's just like, can nobody just get the child? It's not that big of a place. Somebody can't make it to the fucking basement.
It's an island. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's not even a savage land, y'all. Come on, what are we doing?
Everyone keeps fighting. Cable says Xavier's like, what's your status? He's like, I have the child. What will you do, Gambit? Gambit says he's going to stay there next to Rogue, while she's there. And we get a pretty dumb little bit here with New X-Men fighting Predator X, breaking into the infirmary to fuck everybody up, including Nightcrawler waking up. The big takeaway here is that Pixie says X-23 is the only one who's killed a Predator X. I can take us to her. I hate this. It's so like, you don't think she might be busy?
Yeah. Like she's got nothing else going on. You're just going to drop a Predator X in her lap. Like what if they were at tea?
Yeah.
What if they were just having a nice tea? You know what I'm saying?
What if you teleported the Predator X away?
Yeah. Teleport him to space.
Why would you? And this fight scene is already too big and chaotic, but adding the new X-Men and Predator X to it, it becomes incomprehensible to a degree that's like pretty rough.
And it's already like, you and I are not into Predator X to begin with, so like having more Predator X at this thing just doesn't matter to me whatsoever. It really feels like a way to prolong the book into 13 issues, if I'm being like straight up honest. Like
a little bit, yeah. Because like cool plot stuff happens in the next issue, but we're mostly getting a shitty fight.
Exactly. Yeah.
During this, Predator X gets teleported there, bites Vertigo in half. Rip. And the battle is now joined. There's really confusing blocking here. Xavier's walking upstairs to give the baby to Cable and says like, hey, take the baby into the future. Bishop yells. Bishop goes, it ends here. Cable, the child dies. And then we cut over and Bishop's not in the frame. It's just Cable versus Predator X.
Yes. Weird.
We find out the blocking later that like Bishop is just off camera, like being like, I'm here too. But it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's not very sensible.
Yeah, it does seem a little weird. And that's the end of the issue, that we live on this cliffhanger of the Predator X. Will it eat the baby? No, of course not. The baby's too important.
Yes,
it doesn't even matter. This is going to take us to X-Men issue 207, chapter 13, which is the conclusion.
Yes. So.
This cover is good if busy. Like I like the like kind of darker ink. But it's one of these like collage things where you get a lot of like weird things happening all around it that don't actually happen in the book, which I always find a little weird. Like
Mystique putting a gun up to Warpath's head.
It's not a Gary. It's not a gun. It's a pistol. Like it's a 6-shot revolver, which I know. I know Mystique goes back a ways, but I don't know that. Like I feel like she would have a cooler gun. You know what I'm saying?
Mystique knows how to root and toot.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But it's just some really like weird stuff. Like, Nightcrawler's here like in his full outfit, which he's not at all in the comic. And it doesn't matter. Who cares? But yeah.
No. I just like Cable's cool watch.
Yes.
Being on full display. Mm-hmm. It's like the dead center of the drawing. This is so Predator X is there growling. Cable's there, and this is where they show Bishop is right off screen. Bishop tries to shoot at Cable and the baby. Missing, then tries to shoot at Predator X. Runs out of bullets, and then Predator X comes and bites him.
Very funny.
It looks like he kills Bishop, but does not.
Just puts him out of the fight till the very end, basically.
Yeah.
The art on this panel at the bottom is so hilarious to me. Like Nightcrawler's like run pose is so weird looking. Like it's like a what it reminds me of is what's the cactar from Final Fantasy? Doesn't it like give you those vibes?
It's exactly that, but also it looks like Adam Scott from Parks and Rec.
Yes, it does. It's looking like Adam Scott playing a cactar for some reason, which is something that would definitely happen.
A Nightcrawler cactar. Nightcrawler cactar Adam Scott. It's my activation phrase.
We're just the worst people.
It's very, Wow, Zowie. Could a depressed mutant make this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. I love him just trying to catch up Cyclops. Cyclops, Pixie, she's trying to save us and teleport. And he just like does shut up,
Kurt. Yeah, we got some bigger issues we're dealing with right now. Logan sends X-Force to take Predator X down. And Warpath is like, we're fighting Marauders. And this is where Cyclops tells Emma to send the students in to fight the Marauders. And this is going to have repercussions. I think, this is like the beginning.
It's the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Like the actual schism event happens with a specific with ID or ED happening. This is the beginning of that thread, even though it's going to take many years before it finally kind of unravels. Like this is portrayed as a good choice. He's saying like not good, but like effective. He's saying, the Marauders have been fighting us for years, but they don't know how to fight these kids.
Yeah. And the Marauders are like, yeah, we do. They're kids. We're just going to punch them in their face until they lay down and don't do anything anymore.
Yeah, you shoot them.
Yeah, you just shoot the children. Like we're real good at that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's not hard. The Whedon dialogue continues. Was the style of the time with Warpath stabbing Predator X, the wound closing and being like, okay. Wounding this thing isn't going to get us anywhere. Anybody got any better ideas? And then gets knocked off. We were all absolutely lost our minds for a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. This is where Cyclops confronts Cable, who has the baby, and says, hey, you need to give me the baby. And Cable says, no, like the whole future depends on her. If she stays here, like she'll die. Everybody will die. And he pulls a gun on Cyclops, and Cyclops rightfully says, like, if you were gonna shoot me, you would have already shot me by now. Like I know, like this is an empty threat. And out of the shadows, basically, here comes Xavier,
Agent 47 is about to fucking clock him with a wrench. That's what it looks like.
Where did the axe come from? Says Cable. But he, Xavier shows up and is like, which you would think, Xavier's going to show up and say like, oh, he's going to be on Cable's side because he's been helping Cable this entire time. Instead, he says, no. You need to do as Scott says, give him the baby. And we're going to come back to that, but in the meantime, Rogue wakes up.
Yep. She's alive. Mystique's very happy, and Rogue's confused. She's been out for a while. Mystique starts explaining it. Hectatomb got you. That was the things they were fighting that gave her the virus and stuff. She's like, I did everything in the world to save you. It was a terrible price, but it was worthwhile. And Rogue immediately picks up the price bit. Mm-hmm. What happened? Mystique is still going on about all the things she had to do until Rogue demands that she answer and says, I had to use this baby to you. And Rogue's like, you killed a child. Like, no, it's fine.
No, all good.
The baby's fine. And Rogue does not accept this.
Yeah. Because it's bullshit that she did this on Rogue's behalf. Like this would have been something that Rogue would have had to carry around for a long, long time, right? Like, yeah.
And she already has fresh memories of what breast milk tastes like, and not just regular breast milk, future breast milk from Cable's arm,
future techno-organic breast milk,
chest milk.
Yeah.
She takes off her glove like she's going to take out Mystique.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sick of this shit. It has to be stopped. We cut over to the fight with Predator X. I hate this dialogue. I hate Predator X. Hepzibah says, James taught me a charming earth or human proverb. If at first you don't draw blood, change up.
What is
not
this?
A proverb. What are you fucking talking about? The worst. And just kind of throws some Dr. Mario pills at
it. To no effect. Like it looks like it's supposed to be like acid, but it doesn't do anything. And I wish they had established, and maybe they did, like leading up to this, and I just don't remember. But like Hepzibah like getting proverbs wrong or something. Like if it's a running joke to her, be like, if at first you don't succeed, change up, or before you cross the road, look down or whatever the fuck it
Be a
is.
chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it said here, it just like sticks out like a sore thumb. And I was like, what the fuck is this? And we see Bishop getting up at the bottom panel. So like he's still in the fight.
Yeah. They're still fighting. We have some new X-Men versus the Marauders. The new X-Men are holding their own and winning. Here, Pixie stabs somebody. Emma Frost is fighting Exodus, one of the most powerful Marauders, and is distracting him in the psychic plane while dust goes into his lungs and kills him from the inside.
Nice.
Or hurts him from the inside. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool use of dust. Here, the fight's continuing. We go back to the standoff where Cable's like, Professor, like, you know how much is at stake. Like, why you believe in me? And he's like, I do, but Scott's right. It's not your choice. If the future's at stake, it's not just ours. Scott's the leader of the X-Men. You've had your say. Now it's his time to decide. Like, this is him passing the torch.
Yes.
This is them resolving that tension from the beginning of the crossover.
Mm-hmm.
They have. Go back to Rogue and Mystique. Mystique's like, you're not going to do this. You don't want to do this. And Rogue's like, I am going to do it. I love you. I may never forgive myself, but at the very least, I'll remember you, along with everyone else. And just grabs Mystique.
By the face.
We think this is it.
Back to the Predator X fight where they're not winning against Predator X. They have no idea what they're going to do. When Logan runs up a conveniently placed spire thing and says, hey, we can't cut you, gut you, blind you, or hamstring you. So let me take a closer look, and then just jumps into the thing's mouth. And X-23 reacts like very strongly. You won't take him, not you, not you. Like she's obviously got like this protective thing over Logan. She's very stressed about it. But of course, it's Logan, and he jumped into a creature's mouth, and we all know what's about to happen. Like, I'm surprised X-23 didn't just stop and go, yep, good idea. Good idea, stepdad, or whatever I'm calling you now.
It's such a cliche. There's a big invincible monster, get inside it and destroy it from the inside. It's something I dig. Like, it's not like something I hate the idea of. It can be kind of fun. I just have to like the monster, and it's stupid that they just didn't start with this after they couldn't. Like, they sent the Blade Squad against it. Blades won't pierce it.
Yeah.
That's it. I fucking hate Predator X.
It's so dumb because, again, like, it gets to that thing of like, if you can jump inside it and like, if you can tear it apart from the inside, like, does its healing factor only work on its skin? Is that what you're telling me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't.
Only on the outside of the skin.
Yeah.
It's a one-way healing factor.
But it's very much like it's just a dumb fucking thing, and I hope I never have to deal with it ever again. So I haven't done it. I'm gonna go do a wiki dive and see whether Predator X comes back. I want to know the story, like why somebody thought this was cool. It's the worst. We go over to Cyclops. He's holding the baby. I'm sorry.
I got the baby.
Just real quick, I googled Predator X, just assuming that it would be just an X-Men thing, but it's like there's like a real thing called Predator X, and it's just and the front picture is this of killing like a 3D render of this weird monster killing another weird 3D render monster. Like, it's fucking bonkers. Oh my god!
When you say there's a real thing,
yeah, like it's a plyo.
What does that mean?
It's a pliosaur.
Oh,
like it's a dinosaur known colloquially as Predator X.
It's a big turtle.
It's just but click on that picture because it's not a big turtle. It just looks like that.
No, it looks like a big. It's a big crococodile killing a Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's a weird 3D render. Like, I had my whole I was like, whoa, what the fuck is this going on?
Does Predator X exist?
Yes. Yeah. Here's a 3D render.
On Earth in Svalbard. That's pretty rad. Do you know about Svalbard?
I do not.
Svalbard is this community in unincorporated Greenland or the Antarctic or something, where it's like basically like a free community. They don't really have laws, and you can just go up there and live. It's super hostile.
Okay.
It's this weird little experimental town that people live in. I've watched a bunch of YouTubes about it. It's real cold. It's hard to get supplies, but you're just welcome there if you want to.
Okay.
If you can go homestead.
Okay.
So yeah.
Sure.
And they found Predator X. So Scott's like, I have him, and then Cable corrects, is like, you got her.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, her, I'm about to, but she grabs his little pendant. His pendant has him and Jean Grey in it. And this is the load-bearing memory. It reminds him of basically his history. He reminds of him and Jean Grey sending their Cable off into the future to be raised. He sees Jean Grey dying, again, that scene from New X-Men that was pretty recent. Not that recent, but relatively recent at this time. Him talking to his son in the future, that's the adventures of Scott Summers and Jean Grey, where they go to the future and wear turbans and talk to Cable.
Sorry. Go to the future and wear turbans. It's just a very funny sentence.
The fucking Uncanny, dude. But this is him realizing, like, maybe I'm not the right person for this. Maybe I need to cede some control over this. And this is what Xavier intended. Xavier's like, yeah, you can't control the future. You can only allow this to be born. This child opens up the key to that. You need to just let this happen. Yep. As it is.
I really wish Scott would have just looked at Xavier and been like, I don't need your fucking I told you so's, my man. Like, I'm here doing all of this work on my own. Like, you just showed up with Cable, like, out of the blue to hand him a baby. Like, we didn't really need you here to do this at all.
He would feel real bad given what's going to happen.
We jump over to Rogue. It's real weird how Rogue is absent for this crossover, but appears like they really wanted to, like, set Rogue off on her own path. Like, they really wanted to do Rogue stuff at the end of this thing because
it sets up X-Men Legacy.
Yeah.
Which is Rogue's solo series that eventually turns into a Legion and Xavier series.
Yeah, which is not good.
With Rogue.
That's that Legion and Xavier series.
I
not good.
It was real boring when I tried to read it. Even though I like Mike Carey, but it was very boring.
But Rogue stopped short from killing Mystique. And because she realized as it was happening that since she woke up, it's only been her in her head. The virus was gone. There's been no memories from any other people, all of the other personalities that rattling around in there. And she wouldn't have touched Mystique at all if she had realized it just a few seconds sooner, but she's now absorbed Mystique's memory. So it's just her and Mystique in there. And she says, like, hey, I got to go deal with this. This is too much. I cannot handle your weird Cajunness. Just if you love me, leave me the fuck alone. I don't need a Cajun man.
No, I don't want to make out. Now is not the fucking time.
Is not the right. Why is your dick out? Why is your dick out right now? That's so weird, Gambit. Why is your dick out? Why did you pull it out?
It's been so long, Cher. Like, Jesus Christ, Gambit.
Gambit, put it up.
Do you think? I imagine Rogue probably paid prostitutes to try to seduce Gambit. Just so they could, like, watch a fucking movie or something.
Oh, you think it's just to calm down? Just to, like, I just need a night in. Can you just put your dick in your pants so we can watch The Crown for a little while? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's the same, like, with when Tyrion gets Joffrey the prostitute.
Yeah. To think it was going to...
He's just trying to help him out.
Ease him up, yeah.
Yeah. Cyclops kisses the baby on the forehead and says, Cable, take the baby into the future.
Yep.
She's going to choose to be what she wants to be herself. She needs to be raised first, though. So give her some freedom. I wasn't able to do that for you, but I wanted you to do it for this baby. Kind of a sweet moment. Like, this works on me. I like this.
Yeah, it's good. Wolverine and Beast are both like, and Cyclops is like, nope, done.
Yeah, done. And the final little twist here, he's like, yeah, I'll be back. I'll let you know what's going on. He teleports away just as Bishop picks up a gun, shoots him. But he had already time phased out, so he misses and hits Xavier. Yep.
And Cyclops blasts the shit out of him, and they run to check over on Xavier, who is just lying dead. It's a headshot. They don't actually say dead because he's not going to be dead, obviously. But they this ends with, like, what do we do now? And Cyclops saying, pray that child's birth meant something that we won't be the last. Sorry, I messed that up. Pray that child's birth means something, that we won't be the last, that there's still something good left in the world. It was Xavier's dream, right? It began with him and it ends with him. There are no X-Men. And the camera just slowly fades out. I kind of don't like this there are no X-Men line, to be honest with you. I feel like if they...
It's weird.
It is. It's just awkward. Like, I feel like if it was like, it began with him and it ends with him, and then we literally got the next page, it would be perfect. But, like, I guess they wanted us to think that they're disbanding the X-Men at this point. And then the next page is, like, completely black. We get a little check-in, and then, like, here's 6 X-Men comic books you can read after this.
I think the idea is, like, this is going to be a new status quo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm going to create X-Force. We're going to make some changes around here. Which is, like, what happens with these crossovers. I accept it as a thing that happened. It's not a good line though, because Scott's thing is like, there are X-Men. I'm the X-Men.
Yeah.
They're fucking taking this seriously. Like, the X-Men exist and they are going to be militant. That's the arc he's on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this, like, he's just now shocked because he got doom pilled.
Yeah.
For a moment, seeing Xavier not die but go into the psychic realm, if I recall, for X-Men Legacy ship. But we get the Black Page, which I think is like fairly classy.
Yeah.
And then we get the future. Cable's in the future next to a lighthouse, and he's just like, "We made it, kid. Time to raise you."
Yep. And that's going to kick off a whole new series for Cable, which I vaguely remember liking. I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
and
it's got the hilarious cover. The issue to that Cable #1 with the absolutely tiny baby on his chest is one of the funniest drawings in X-Men history.
Yes. So it's such a very tiny baby. Like, the baby is smaller than one of his muscles on his arm. Like,
it's incredible.
It's just
the whole baby.
Wow. It's just a very, and I think doesn't the baby have like a weird expression on his face too? Yeah. The baby just has a very odd, anyway, very weird.
It's the best art.
But yeah, this is going to set off like a bunch of other issues. Like we were going to get X-Force #1. Which is not Remender's X-Force. I don't think this starts with Remender, if I remember correctly.
No. This is early Blade Squad, where everything is dark and muddy, and it's just Blades. And then Remender comes along and fixes it. In my opinion,
Remender's is so much better. But yeah, that's pretty much the crossover event. It's like this, all of this stuff I think is really neat. Like the saving the race and the all of this hope stuff I think really works. For the most part, it just really works. Why is Predator X here? Like, it just seems like, is that not the fucking most filler shit you've ever seen in your entire life?
It's really filler shit. It's funny because I know I've been beating up on them a lot. Everything I hate about this crossover is Kyle Craig and Yost.
Yeah.
Because they created Predator X. They did all the shitty, just shocking deaths at the end of all the issues. They brought Predator X back. Like, I just feel like those guys suck.
Yeah,
I really hate how they write. I don't like the stuff that they do.
Yeah.
It's a real bummer because the rest of it I think is interesting. Yeah,
it's fun. Like, it's a really fun series. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of like weird combinations of stuff. I just sometimes it gets like the climatic battle at the end. I really wish was better. Like, if we're gonna make all of my action figures like slam against each other, I want it to be done like in a really cool way.
Yes. Yeah. I wish the fighting was better. I generally like the twist of this. I like the two people from the future both having like an optimist and a pessimist, kind of outlook. Like Bishop being like, no, this fucks everything up. Cable being like, no, this is the only hope.
Yeah.
And those just being their two different perspectives, I think is interesting.
Yeah, me too.
And it shows, since I like that we did this after AVX, because it does show they were laying track for AVX a lot longer.
Yeah. They were thinking about this stuff
than I initially thought
in some really interesting ways. So, this is good. I hope everybody enjoyed this enjoyed through our 3-part series on Messiah Complex, and we're gonna go kill some mutants and some Marauders next, right?
Yeah, Mutants and Marauders, very important crossover to X-Men. Real fun, like it's a fun era. It's real cheesy. We're gonna get into it, and also brings us into some other comics which we haven't done. There's like a Daredevil issue in there. There's a Thor issue in there, stuff like that. But this is all like, this is where Angel loses his wings. The Morlocks die. It's all very cool.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be fun, and we get to talk about Daredevil.
Yeah, which we never have.
No, not really.
Before. He showed up a little bit in AVX. I don't care about him. Like I had nothing specifically against him.
Have you read? I don't know. We don't have to do like an MCU catch up, but just to kind of off the cuff, like they announced that Daredevil Disney Plus series, which is going to be based on Daredevil Born Again. Which I guess is a Frank Miller thing, and the only thing I know about it is that Frank Miller like really treated Karen terribly during this, and I'm wondering, like, because it's an 18 episode series on Disney Plus. Have you read that at all? Like, do you have any concept of what it is?
All I know is that it has a really good reputation. And it is that's really it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I know that it's well liked. So I'm also not surprised that it's kind of shitty, given that it is
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
He's going to get some shitty stuff in there.
Not surprising. But I bet you, I don't think it will be shitty the way they'll do it.
No,
on Disney Plus, they'll shave that off. And I'm excited because it's supposed to be really good, and this might be a good way to experience it for me. I never read it though. It's just one of those like great classic comic runs that has just been a blind spot for me.
Yeah, I need to catch up on it. I'm curious. I need to catch up on a bunch of the stuff that they're basing modern MCU stuff on. Like there's some stuff that I've got big blind spots for. So I'd be curious.
Yeah,
how it goes.
Yep. Cool. Well, yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for understanding about the period of absence.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you, just for being here.
Yeah.
If you want to support us, go over to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Get a bunch of bonus shows. Get to dictate things for abject suffering and watch out for fireballs. Listen to Bonfireside Chat. Listen to our brand new show, Best Quality Vacuum. It's coming out in the fall. That's going to be for non-patrons as well. But if you want to support that is me and Cole's show. We're going to start talking about the Breaking Bad universe.
Yeah, excited about that one. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Might inspire a rewatch for me, which I've been kind of talking about doing when Better Call Saul finishes up. But maybe I'll just do it now. Why not? It's
a good opportunity to. Yeah. And it's just laying track for you and I eventually doing our Game of Thrones episode by episode show.
Exactly. Oh my God, dude.
Be very fun.
Yeah, that would be
someday.
Incredible. That would be fun. Until then,
yeah,
until we do a Game of Thrones show,
doing the job. Yeah,
we will. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with more X-Men stuff.